right, Joseph, we're back again, and first segment I was asking you a little bit what it's like to be a Jewish person who hears the name of Jesus.
Yes.
And of course, I want to mention that you wrote a book called The Money Man.
Yes.
And it's really an interesting book, quite different in the fact that it is from a Jewish man who believes in Jesus.
Right.
But there was one thing in there that struck me that I think a lot of people can relate to in their life, and it's kind of weird timing. It's when you were getting ready to go to seminary, because you've been to seminary, right?
Correct.
Okay. And in it, there's a questionnaire, and it asks you what your relationship is like with your mother and father.
That's right.
And what was your answer?
My answer, word for word, was, I love my mother, I hate my father.
And I think a lot of people can relate to those feelings. And as we discussed earlier, I'm thinking, this man's getting ready to go into seminary, and he says he hates his father. And one of the 10 Commandments is to honor your father and your mother. So
That's right.
Can you shed a little light on what happened? You're getting ready to go to seminary. You hate your father. What happened?
This is what happened, Lynn. I was in the career of my dreams. If you remember, I was a barrister at law. I was just getting on my feet. I'd won a few cases in the Old Bailey. I was a criminal law attorney, and I loved it. I loved addressing juries. I loved speaking to judges. I loved researching the law as it was. And then suddenly my mother phoned me, and it was a very bad day, and she said, Joseph, come quickly. Dad has been taken to hospital. Now you may say, what has all that got to do with hating your father? And this is what happened. I had to leave my career virtually overnight, because my dad had a little business, the rag business, where he bought and sold rags. I forgot the fact that by him buying and selling rags, I was able to get an education in one of the finest colleges in London. I forgot the fact that money they didn't have, they saved up, my mum and dad, in order to help me. All I could think of was myself. I was selfish about it. I was upset about it. One day I was in a wig and a gown in the main street, one of the main streets in London, and the next day I was in one of the worst parts of London with people I had no relationship with, so I was a snob, people I couldn't understand, and that was his business where he bought and sold rags. But what I had learned since I read the Bible is that God says very, very clearly that if you don't forgive others, God will not forgive you. And we have to remember that. And the other thing is, from a natural point of view, why would I hate my father? Because he was ill. I mean, he was ill. He didn't want to be ill. He didn't want to be away from his business for I don't know how many weeks. And why would that be a cause to hate him? And I've learned since, a lot of people develop bad feelings about other people that lead to hate over the most trivial things. Not that it was trivial that my father was ill and that I'd given up my career, but there are a lot of people who learn about hate because it makes them feel good, maybe. I don't know. It makes them shut out somebody from their life whom they don't like. And it's okay not to like somebody, but that doesn't mean you have to hate them.